if he could say a few encouraging words regarding our veterans. Tomorrow is Veterans Day, so buddy, go ahead. Follow that.
Here. I don't know that for sure. But everybody here wants to think about tomorrow's Veterans Day, and you should be doing something for veterans. Now, I know a lot of you won't, but a lot of you don't know what veterans have gone through to make this country what it is. Of course, the country, I don't know, but we suffered a lot, and we did a lot. And a lot of them went and didn't come home. I went with a cousin of mine. He lived a half a mile away. He was one of 6 brothers, and 4 of them went into the military. And all but he came home, and I had to write his mother a letter after he passed, you know. But I did a lot of training up in the rainforest in Olympia, Washington. If anybody was ever up there, it rains up there. Rains for a week or two, and you can't get out of the rain eventually. And so I'm hoping really that everyone here will see a veteran tomorrow, even if you don't know me and you know he's a veteran, and do something for him, you know. If you wish him well, if you buy him a dinner, if you buy him a breakfast, if you shake his hand, if you do whatever, you know. And I don't know if any of you knew, about a mile east here, there was one of America's best there. He didn't live real long. He was an Army Ranger, and he was a Black Hawk tail gunner in Vietnam. And he got, and they put you out where the fighting was, and he got sprayed with napalm one day, and his life was never the same. And if you know what napalm is, you got to know, you know. But all of you, don't forget Veterans Day, and do something for a veteran tomorrow. Can I count on all of you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know there's probably, what, 4 or 5 veterans here?
How many veterans?
How many veterans have we got here?
Veterans, stand up.
Stand up.
Stand up. All the veterans. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have Pastor Dave tonight with us, and we have asked Pastor Dave if you would lead us in an opening prayer, please.
Well, thank you, Dean. My dad was a veteran in the U.S. Army as well, and so we're very thankful for those who served. I'm glad to be here. It's been a year or so since I was able to be here. I spent the first 5 months seeing an awful lot of doctors and the tube sticking out of my kidney and cancer treatments and all that.
Wow.
So you'll pardon me if I didn't lead too many meetings in prayer for a little while there, but I'm glad to be back, and God's blessed me with health again, so I'm very thankful for that, and glad to see everyone who's here tonight, and thankful for our township. Let's pray together. Oh Lord, you are good, and your love endures forever, and we give you thanks. In this season of Thanksgiving, we praise you for all the good gifts you give us. And we thank you, Lord, for the people that you've used to make our lives better as well. We thank you for veterans who have served and sacrificed much. We thank you, Lord, for all who have contributed to the lives that we have, many who've gone before us, and for those who shared the gospel, those who helped build the nation, those who've done so much. And Lord, we're in a wonderful part of your creation here in Green Garden. We thank you for the beauty of the creation. We thank you for all the good crops that have come in again for farmers and for the bounty that you provide. We thank you, Lord, for those who are leaders in our township, who are using their time to serve others here. And we pray, Lord, that as they conduct this meeting tonight, and for each resident who is here, We pray for wisdom, for the ability to listen well and to speak clearly, to understand and appreciate each other's viewpoints, and to make decisions that are going to be good for the people in this area. We do pray for each one, that each home will be blessed, each marriage, each family, each person, Lord, in a time of special need. We pray that you will lift them up and encourage their hearts. We thank you above all for our Lord Jesus Christ, who gave his life for us and rose again that we might live forever. We pray in his name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Dave. And ask Clerk Chrissy to do the roll call, please.
Supervisor Butler.
Here?
Here.
Trustee Olszewski. Here. Trustee Shepard. Here. Trustee Striga.
Here.
Assessor Bashong. Present. Road Commissioner Hilliard.
Here.
Clerk Kraft, present.
Thank you. On our agenda, number 4 is the motion to approve the minutes from the last board meeting and workshop meetings as submitted. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Trustee Belinda. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Monroe. Motion has been seconded. Is there, although we don't need discussion on this, so all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, approved. Motion passed. Number 5, motion to approve the township financial report. Let me just mention this, that the financial report is very comprehensive now. It allows the trustees to not only look over the vouchers, the checks, the bank accounts, also every single invoice that is written. So it's a very comprehensive financial report, organized, and so we appreciate the trustees looking at that. So do we have a motion to approve the township financial report?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Trustee Ralph. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Wes. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed. Unfinished business, number 6. We have again the Planning Commission land use update by Mark. We're going to ask Mark to come forward and give us an update, and then he'll let us know what the next step is regarding that map that their plan use is working on.
Thanks, Dean.
This is weird. It seems like I should be. facing
Yeah,
that
you
way.
could turn around. Yeah, you could turn it around for that. Yeah, sure.
Hello. For our future land use plan, we have our next 2 steps is to have conduct another open house, so we could see how the input that you've given from the surveys and from our open house event at the golf course earlier in the year, and the discussions that we've had here, how that's come together in our future land use plan. We're just looking for the venue. So the golf course is no longer open on Mondays as soon as we wanted to use it. We're probably going to go to the firehouse on Route 45, and we're targeting December 1st. That's the same day that our next planning commission is, so we're going to have an open house from 4:30 to 6:30. We don't expect to have any earth-shattering input that's going to change our plan, but we still want to offer it up to people that couldn't make the last one or have comments, and then we'll come over here to our meeting. We'll go through it again for the planning committee, and we'll take our vote, and then we'll bring that to the board the following week. And that's pretty much the update. Thank you. Want me to turn this back around?
No, because Mr. Brecker will be coming up next. Thank you, Mark. Thanks for all the work that you guys have done with this. You've done a wonderful job.
It's a good plan.
Yes, yes it is. Yes it is. Okay, that brings us to 6B, which is the solar facilities and agritourism presentation from Mr. Thomas Becker from the Watershed Committee. Again, we all appreciate all the work that you guys have been doing on behalf of the township regarding keeping us all up to date on the solar facilities. So go ahead, Tom.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Thomas Becker, and I am the chairman of the Watershed Committee. Most of you know about this outrageous solar facility that's proposed, 5,400 acres, about 1.5 million solar panels, will probably impact at least 3 townships. We've been asked a lot of questions about what's going on, what will happen for the future, and I'd like to briefly talk about 3 issues. The first thing is about how we got here. A lot of people wonder, how is all this happening so quickly? This isn't how things were in the past. There was a number of laws that have been passed by the state of Illinois and by the county. In 2023, the state passed a law to put the 20-foot high solar panels 50 feet from your backyards. That same law says you may not have a berm to buffer yourself from an industrial use, which is solar facility, to your home. It even says that your objection that this facility will degrade your property value is not a legitimate objection. The county then added insult to injury. They passed a law in 2023. Now, normally, what they're asking for with these solar facilities is to put a special use on farmland. It's an industrial use, and they want to put it on farmland. Ordinarily, there's only one parcel at a time. But what the county did is they passed a law in 23 that said you can have one parcel or you can have multiple parcels, and they don't even have to touch or connect. So that's why we have Earthrise with parcels in 6 townships, because the county invited mega solar here. On top of it, just 2 weeks ago, the state of Illinois, the legislature, the Senate, just passed a law now to put those utility scale battery solar. These are these large batteries. They look like a container, a truck container. They have now voted to put those 50 feet from your backyards. And these things explode. They are flammable. There's a history of problems with them being unstable. And not only that, but the state said that the companies that bring in these solar batteries, they don't have to pay a dime. They don't have to get a loan to do the task. It's going to be paid by you. The taxpayers will be paying for the solar batteries in a new line item, from what I understand, on your ComEd bills. So when we have this kind of subsidy going on for an industry, it's not allowed for any other industry. When this is happening, we have to make a decision on how we challenge this. And what we're going to do is we're going to litigate this. Now, this is the idea of a farming community litigating an issue is not new. We have 3,850 people here. We have 29 subdivisions. We have a wonderful group of people. But the tradition of challenging and protecting a farming community is something that is part of our heritage. In the Victorian era, there used to be farming clubs. And they would have a hall where they meet, a large assembly hall. And these farming communities would sue corporations, the railroads, for cheating them of their profits, for their grain or for their livestock. So there's a tradition, and the reason we have our communities today is because those families fought to preserve this area and other areas like this. My brother is an attorney. He's part of our Watershed Committee. He's going to be taking on that litigation. He litigates both in Europe and the United States. He's looked at these laws, and they completely deprive us of our rights of zoning and the rights of protection and our rights to choose where something should go. We are going to be putting up a legal defense fund because that's going to be a large task. And we'll be doing that soon once we find there's an application that's filed. Now, with the circumstance of what's happening, we have to look at our future. So we're looking at the fact that the legislation is set up against us by the state and the county. We're looking at litigation is certainly an issue. I believe we will prevail. But what about our future? This is just the first Earthrise. And there'll be plenty. They said they want to open the door for more. They have 5,000 acres they want to use. They have another one in Crete for 3,000. That's 8,000 acres of farmland that are gone from our farmers to plant that and harvest and make money from that. So our idea, we've been talking, I've actually heard from a lot of people, how do we preserve our future? And there's two paths. Either we let this go and the solar will come in. It's really a backdoor to industrial, just as they tried with North Point in Manhattan Township to bring 4,000 acres of industrial. That was fought. That's still being fought today, 6 years later. But for ourselves, how do we challenge this and what can we do to protect our future? There is an option for us. There's a window of time for us to do something. And it has to do with governing ourselves. All of these laws are sitting in the county code. What the governor passed, what the state passed, what the county passed are sitting in the county codes. And we have an option to move ourselves out of the county code and move ourselves in the municipal code where we can define our own land use and set our own boundaries. So that's the process of incorporation. And it's based on a charter. Now, since it's Thanksgiving, going to come up in a few weeks, the first charter was the Mayflower Compact, which I'm sure most of you know. It was 1620, 400 years ago. In fact, my dear late mother's family had 2 passengers on the Mayflower. And one of our ancestors signed the Mayflower Compact. And it was the first attempt at self-governance by a group of people in America. And that effort still exists today in our Illinois Constitution. It's called Article 7, about home rule incorporation. That's a big step to think about, but I want you just to think about the idea of taking your own power to protect your own community. And if we were to do that, it's a process. It's a pragmatic thought. It's something that could take 12 to 18 months. But we would be able to stop the industrialization of our farmland. And that's not just solar. We would be stopping the industrialization of the warehouse districts, the data centers. We would take control of our own boundaries. And if we were successful in doing that, we could annex other farm properties and other townships to join us. It is a process, but I want you to think that is a solution and a path forward for our own self-governance. But if we are to do that, we need an identity. And we are a farming community. So how would we present ourselves as a community? We don't have little houses set in nice, neat rows. We have 36 square miles. So what we need, I looked back, and just as we found, I was researching about how the farming clubs actually litigated to protect farmland in the Victorian era. They had what's called for better terms, my aunt used to call it, was a grange hall. And there may be other terms for it, but it's a large assembly hall. And that's where their community center was. You had your meetings like this, but you had enough space for a farming market. And I think, isn't it about time that our community could buy its food and fresh food, field to table from our community? So the idea of generating a hall where we would have both our government and an exhibition hall where we could have a farmer's market, we could have ice cream socials, room for enough 200 to 300 people, enough people to come here, enough space for offices, and then parking. Because we're looking at a new future. We have 2 paths. We either go to industrialization or we celebrate and preserve and market our rural lifestyle. That's why we're all here. We could do a craft show. You could do a garage sale. There's a million things. We have 3,800 people here. So this is a process that we would begin thinking about doing, and I want all of you to think about, because you'd all have to vote on it. It's not something we do tomorrow, but it's something that could be done within 12 to 18 months. And we would need a community center to do that. And I think it's an exciting thing. There's no reason for us to reinvent the wheel. This is how farming communities survived in the past. This is how they generated their income, was through marketing, and today it's called agritourism. Back then it was a large hall, and people would come for social events and for government. But this is something to think about. We could do riding trails. This is something that's been talked about for a long time, to make the riding trails local here. You could have people renting out some barn stalls for people to bring their horses to overnight board them and then go out on riding trails. You could have bed and breakfasts. You could have a cafe where the ladies make pies and cakes. It's a very popular way to bring people to this area and celebrate and market our community. So this is a path forward through agritourism and through self-governance. And I'd like all of you to think about this. It's a step forward, but really, what is our alternative? How do we preserve our future? So those are the ideas I have. We're going to be speaking tomorrow at the Wilton Township board meeting. That's at 7:30. It's a lovely area. Those of you who have not been down are wonderful people. They're in the same situation with us. They have 2,700 acres of this Earthrise facility that they're having to deal with. We have 1,700. And we are going to be joining with them to work together, but that's like a sister township. The township hall is on Joliet Road, and it's the old township hall there. I actually went there, 45, 50 years ago. I was in 4-H there. So time has flown. It's amazing. You know, you think about when you're a boy, and now I'm going back there to see if we can't help preserve. They want to preserve their farmland. They want to preserve their community just like we do. And I'm sure there are people in Peatone, in Manhattan. I talked to the supervisor at Wesley. All of us want the same thing. And I think we've given Joliet enough time. They were told to don't industrialize too much more Will County because you're going to lose your water. So what did they do? They did Center Point, and now their aquifer is running out of water. So they're going to have to get $1 billion payment to bring water from Lake Michigan. They tried to industrialize Manhattan Township. Where next? I think it's time to preserve a farming community. I think it's not being valued. That value of that farming community, that is all of our heritage, that's something we can do. We can do that together by governing ourselves and taking the land use back to ourselves in our community and not having decisions be made by the governor, by the state, or a county that doesn't care about us. Because these are the laws, these solar laws are done specifically to bring mega solar here. And while we're going to stop that, we have to define our future as well. So please think about these ideas. I appreciate you allowing me to talk. I appreciate Supervisor Christopoulos and the board for letting me talk about these issues. And we also will be on the radio. I'll be on the radio on Wednesday morning at 7:40, talking with Scott Slocum. It's WJOL, and that is, it's AM 1340, and I'll be talking at 7:40. And he's asked me to talk more about our way forward, what we're doing, why we're here, which is what we talked about tonight, the legislation, the litigation that will help us stop Earthrise, but what is our path forward so that we preserve our community? So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tom. So if anyone does have further questions for Mr. Becker, if you would just contact him directly or on email. Tonight we're not going to take questions for this subject right now. Correct, Tom? Is that what you wanted? Just for them to...
Actually, I have to go. So I have another speaker to do. So,
okay.
Thank you. Yeah, anyone can contact me. Email is Arzen Rose using elephant number 3 TOM@gmail.com. Again, we have wonderful petitions. I get petitions every day from people. People continue to send these petitions that they have online on the township website. People, they're writing from Frankfurt, whole sheets of paper. Other people are saying the husband and wife are sending. So there's such a response to this. And I think we have a way to preserve our future as a farming community. It's a novel idea, but what do we have to lose? I think that is a way we can preserve our future. And this idea of building upon this hall and farmers markets and the whole idea that
brings us together as a community. So thank you for
Thank you, Tom. Okay, so the next step would be litigation, but before that, there has to be an application by Earthrise into the county. Actually told today by a county official that that has not taken place yet, which is surprising. So your team's gonna wait until that happens before we do any litigation.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, our next item for consideration is the town hall project and a grant update. So just when everyone thinks this topic is settled, it hasn't. So I will open this up in just a moment for the board to discuss, but we do have some new information to share. The Will County Executive, Jennifer Bertino, contacted me Friday. So just, a few days ago, she called me and she asked me, Dean, what is happening with the grant and the town hall project? She knew, of course, that it was voted down. And I gave her the Reader's Digest version, a very quick summary of it, which she knew most of. But I told her that the biggest reason, the single most compelling reason the board voted not to do these projects was because of that timeline. Will County changed the timeline from October 30th, 2026 for completion to July 31st of I believe it was 31st of 2026. So when we looked at it and crunched the timeline, we felt that it was not a good decision to move forward. So I told the executive that, and the reason why the the reason why the county changed it from October 31st to July, 3 months sooner, is because they were concerned that we couldn't get it done on time. I mentioned this many times. There was negative influence by one or more people the day before the decision was made, and they did not allow the grant to be transferred to the new town hall. A week later, they called back, and then they emailed saying, we are going to give you the opportunity to switch that grant to the new town hall. So that was exciting. But with that came this new deadline. And I talked to Jennifer about it. I said, that's the reason. So the county, and I told her this, the county, and she was so nice. Jennifer was great. I so appreciated talking to her. It was the first time I talked to her. So appreciated her calling me. And I mentioned that the reason the county, like I said, changed it was because they're concerned that we couldn't get it done by October. So the solution is to make it even harder and go to July? Did that make sense? Of course not. So long story short, she called me back, made a few phone calls, and she extended the township back to October 30th, 2026. And I thanked her for that, and I let her know that that's great, but we still lost many, many weeks through all this, through this happening. So I asked her if she would also allow us to change the scope of work on the new town hall. I believe, and this renovation as an option. So there's two options in her mind, was the new town hall and the renovation of the old town hall. She gave permission for the timeline to be October 2026 and change of scope. So that was really encouraging. So in light of that, she gave us permission to revise the scope of work. I would like to open this discussion up with the board, with the community here and online to listen to our discussion. We want to be completely open because it's not any one person's decision. It's not the board's decision. Eventually, this will go before the electorate if we decide to move forward with the new town hall project. It has to be voted on by the electorate. So with that, board members, the revised scope would be this. It would be to erect the exterior building for the grant money. That would be considered phase one. So the manufacturer would manufacture the building, install the concrete piers with the building, the flooring, the concrete floor, the well and septic, the rough plumbing, the electric, the landscape, and the parking lot. That will take up the grant money right there. So what we proposed to the county was that we would not build out the interior. That saves at least 2 months. In theory, they're okay with it. Is it 100% official? No. The executive, Jennifer, did say it makes sense to me, but it still has to get approved. We still have to go through the federal procurement guidelines, come up with the scope, come up with some bids. Everything does have to start over, so we wouldn't have an official word probably for a couple months, but that would be true on the renovation of this property as well. I do want to say this, and I'm sure you guys don't want the credit, but Trustee Monroe and Trustee West had a conversation, and Wes called me and he suggested that we change the scope to just the exterior part to save us time. And I said, wow, that's a great idea. I don't know if it'll fly. And that's when I called back Executive Jennifer, and she called me back then and said yes to that.
And we tried that initially and they said no, but now that they're...
Yeah. With the grant being turned down, they were very gracious to give us this opportunity. But it was you guys that made that happen as far as the new town hall is concerned. And it wasn't my idea. So that's why it's so good to have more voices involved than just a few people. So with that in mind, we put together what I call hurdles or challenges for this new town hall. And what I would like to discuss briefly is 7 challenges. Openly, honestly, no pretense. If we feel that these challenges and hurdles, that we could overcome them and consider the risks involved in moving in this direction, if we feel that is the case, then that's exactly what we'll do, and then we'll bring it before the electorate. And the reason why we're doing that is because it dates back to the meeting that we had in June at the church with the residents. The surveys that came back, the comments, the board's opinion, all that combined, we voted to continue on with that proposal of the new town hall. Again, we voted it back last month because of the timeline. Now we have a new timeline, and not only a new timeline, we could change the scope. So the seven hurdles, and you all have this sheet in front of you. The first one is the 6-acre parcel versus the 7.14 acre. It was brought to our attention that it's very possible that the 6 acres that we want to build on, which is on the north side of, it's north of the 7.14, but in any regard, that 6 acres, we were told that that could have possibly been purchased by park funds. So I listed it as a challenge. I listed it as a hurdle. I listed it as a next step, an immediate next step, which we'll see in a little bit, that we have to jump all over and take care of. I will say this, that I spoke to our attorney briefly about this, and she asked for the deeds to both properties. She asked about the zoning. Ralph, do you recall what the zoning was from the Will County when we had that land use committee down at the county building?
I thought it was E2.
That's what I thought as well. Sorry, I didn't look it up, but yeah, so they told us what at that meeting? They told us that we could, you got your microphone?
Just click it on. Yeah, just one click.
I'm getting a little flash. Oh, thanks.
Do you love these fuzzies? These fuzzies are so nice. So they told us, did they tell us that we could do what on that land? The zoning, that it was, do you remember?
No, I don't.
Okay, they told us that we could build on it. Yeah, so the zoning for the 6 acres, they pulled it up on the screen and they said no issues with the zoning. So my gut feeling, my hope, and talking to attorney Carrie Lynn, is that this is an internal township thing. So it's not a county thing. They don't really care, you know, whether it was park funds that purchased it or something else. If we own both parcels, hopefully, and as I say hopefully because we got to confirm all this quickly as we can, that it'll be an internal decision that the board could make. That we, you know, the attorney said, hey, if you own them both, you know, it shouldn't be a big deal, but send me the deeds. So I asked Chrissy if she could look all that up and the minutes that I believe the previous board, when they purchased it maybe, or the board before that, and we'll get all the information we can. Is there any other thoughts on that hurdle right there?
I know Monroe mentioned that we had to do a land swap for part of it. Is that right?
We may have.
We may have to, right? And I know
Yeah.
that's not, I mean, that's something we'd have to get going on, obviously,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Again, that's number one on next steps here real soon. But I did use that term because Monroe told me that as well. And I asked Carrie Lynn, I said, do we have to do a land swap? And she said, gosh, I don't see why you would even have to do a land swap, but send me the info. I can't advise you until I do the research. She's down in Springfield at the Township of Illinois conference. So she's going to look into it once we send her the information. But that's a challenge, obviously. So number two, the second challenge is to confirm with the county land use that we can permit the exterior building only, that we would build out the interior without the grant and timeline. So we would end up with two permits from the county. One would be phase one would be the exterior building only. And we wrote this down as a challenge because we want confirmation. So we talked to our civil engineer, Brian, who's been helping us with this a little bit. And he made a couple calls today. He texted and said that he couldn't reach anybody, but that a certain person was gonna be in on Wednesday because tomorrow being Veterans Day, they're not open. So he's gonna get on that. And he's also said that he would set up another pre-application meeting for us if we wanted to, so that we could sit with the land use and let them know exactly our plan on this phase one and make sure it could get permitted. Any other questions regarding that? Now, number three is a big one. This kind of scares us all, right? A little bit. The turn lane. When we met with the county highway department, they told us that we had to do a traffic study. It'd be a minor one, they said. And the head engineer, Mr. Ronaldson, right? Ronaldson?
Yes.
Jeff Ronaldson. He's the one that has the sole authority over whether or not we need a turn lane. Does anyone know a price of a turn lane? Jane says, big,
Not cheap.
very costly. That's what it says on our paper. It's going to be very costly. Maybe Jim, do you know what that would be?
No, I don't know.
Yeah. So we would have to, and prior to all this, before it canceled out, our civil engineer was prepared to order a traffic study on this. He sent us the paperwork, and we just had to give the okay, and he'll get it done. So, but that's certainly a challenge. It's certainly a hurdle, because if we needed a turn lane, we got to know that it's going to cost some big money to do that. I don't know how much. I mean, I could guess and say 100,000. I don't know, 150. I really don't know, but that's what I've heard rumored.
But even though we did meet with Will County's road district or road commissioners, right? And they said it was likely not, I mean, that's just, obviously we'd have to do the test, run the test, but they gave us pretty, I mean, he seemed, because of the church being precedence for that we're probably not gonna need one, but obviously,
Yeah,
we gotta do the
there's,
test.
We gotta get that okay.
there's no guarantees until the traffic study gets in
Right.
Ronaldson's hands and he makes a decision
But we
on it.
did meet with the guy that makes that decision,
Yes, we did, and they gave us good indication. I agree.
right?
So,
That's worth noting.
but it's a big hurdle. So it's a challenge. Let's call it. You know, anything else on that? Number 4, the manufacturing of the building. I called one of the builders, Lester Building, a week or so ago, and he is way out on their delivery of a post frame structure. He said it was like 20 weeks, but he would see what he could do. I called Mark from Clearing that Ralph and I met many months ago. Remember meeting him here, Ralph, from Clearing? And I've got a photo for you guys regarding the building. He said 12 weeks. I said 12 weeks. He said 12 weeks, Steve. Engineered stamp drawings, so you guys could get your permit process going immediately. Manufactured, delivered, trusses, the steel on the outside, and the concrete, and insulating the ceiling with R38 and the walls with R19, and making it ready for drywall. There's clips and things that need to be there. So he would handle that whole structure being installed. He said 12 weeks. I said, Mark, if it was 16 weeks, we'd be happy. He says, okay, good. He said, but I'm telling you right now, we understand what's going on. We'll make this happen. So again, following the federal procurement requirements, we need to get 3 bids for it. So that's just a challenge. It's something that needs to be dealt with immediately if we decide to move forward with this. And we would move forward with it. When I say that, I mean the board would begin to make these connections with trying to solve these issues even before the electorate meeting, so that we have some understanding if it got to that point. Number 5 is ComEd bringing the electric to site. This is the one that scares me as much as the turning lane. And this one here, it could take weeks, it could take months to get ComEd to bring electric to the site. So part of the pre-app meeting would be to discuss this with the permit people to make sure that they would see us as this project being completed, right? And it wouldn't hold up the completion of the project, which would then not hold up the grant. Because if it was months and months, and I was told, and we need to confirm this too, that we can't apply for the ComEd until we have a permit in place, which makes sense. So that's a big hurdle. That's a big one. So we have to just move fast on these and try to find out things. Any other insight on that? Jane, is that big too? That's a big one. Okay, so number 6 is been, I believe, resolved already. Money in the budget to pay as we go. So we have to pay as we go. So we hire an architect, we have to pay. We have to put a deposit down on a building, and then we have to upload invoices into Accenture's system, and then we get reimbursed for the grant, but we have to front money. So all the money is in the capital fund. Again, I've said this many times, I commend the previous board that they wisely put money away regularly into that capital fund, and now we have, do we know how much? We've got it right here, $800,000+ in that capital fund. So that was awesome that they did it. It was specifically for a new town hall. So I called Carrie Lynn on that as well, and she said you could fund it right through the capital fund. You don't need to have a vote to transfer it from the capital fund to the town fund. That's what I thought we would have to do, because that's where all these checks get written. But she said no. But we'll talk more about that. Okay? So that solves the problem, right, Ralph? Because you were really concerned about having enough money to fund the project.
Well, you're
in the
talking
town fund.
grants, the grant, and
Keep talking to that microphone, please, so the
you're talking the grant, and then the capital fund. But I mean, there's nothing in the budget here. Our budget has 100,000 set up for the new town hall fund, and there's 200,000. There was 200,000 for the renovation fund. So, I mean, it's gotta be in the fund before you can spend it. You know, I mean, everybody thinks that the grant is just waiting for us to use it, but we have to have it in our budget to spend it. So originally, the way it was set up for the renovation was that the county took the smaller townships and they paid the bills. The first 22,000 was paid out of the county, never came through our budget. We weren't reimbursed, it was never taken out. So hopefully the county will do the same thing again. So we'll see.
Yeah. But again, Carrie Lynn is hopeful that we may be able, just because it's in the capital fund, but I'll go over that more with her. That's a good point, because it's not technically in our town fund budget. So we have to look into that.
Well, it's up to the electorate.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about. Will we have to vote on that as well? If we vote if the electorate votes to go with the new town hall, then at the same time, they could vote to transfer the capital fund money to the town fund money.
Yeah.
And she did affirm that could be done, but it may not need to be that way. She felt like we could just expend the money through the capital fund. So either way, it's got to be looked into further. Number 7, in the last hurdle, and then we'll open it up, and if you guys have any other hurdles, let's talk about them. The last one is the fire suppression system. The fire suppression system, we finally got some sound word on that. Here's the rule on it according to Frankfurt Fire District. Zach, I forgot his name, I have him on my phone, but I went into the fire district here at Frankfurt. You gave me the right place to go to. I was going to the wrong one, and you gave me the right one. So I went to the right one. Zach's in charge. I talked to Zach. He wasn't there. I called him on his cell, and we had a couple conversations. He said, Dean, here's the hard, fast rule. Do you need a fire suppression system? The answer is, if the building is 3,000 square foot or more, you have to have a fire suppression system. Now, we'll have to have an alarm system, granted, but fire suppression is talking about the sprinklers and all that, right? So that's the rule. I said, is there anything else? And then I said, I heard it was 4,000. Zach, are you sure it's not 4,000? And he said, no, I wrote the ordinance. I know it's 3,000. So that's the long and short of it. So then we called a handful of fire suppression companies just to try to get a feel, to see what it would possibly cost, and got a hold of this one company locally that does these quite regularly for municipalities and others, and he said $30,000 to $40,000 for about a 4,000 square foot building. He said, but you're gonna need the alarm system, so add another 5 or whatever. And then he said you may need to resize the well and make it larger so that it could accommodate the suppression the system, or we'd have to get a separate tank. So you're going to see that we figure it at about 50,000, but so it's just something that we have to talk about as far as square footage. If it's 2,950 square feet outside measurements, we don't need it. Is there any other hurdles that you guys could see that are, there's several things that still need to take place, but like these seem to be like the big ones that could get you a little nervous, and you think about it at night and you go, we gotta find this stuff out.
I think the biggest one is getting the scope, limiting it as much as possible so that we can just spend what's in the grant, put what's in the grant money towards as much of the new town hall as possible. So my opinion, at least, is the biggest one is the scope, getting the scope of work approved, and what we decide is in that scope of work, which you've mentioned more or less. But
yeah,
I just think that's that, and then getting the electors to vote for this.
Yeah, if the electors don't want it, then we're not going to do it, obviously. We don't have the authority to do it without that. So that's fine. We'll put the work in if we decide that, and if the electors want it, great. I say this with all sincerity, I don't believe any of us have a horse in this race where we just have to have our way. We want to do what the community wants to do. So if the electors vote it down, they vote it down. We're not going to be upset saying, oh, we did all this work. And,
Right.
you know, that's what we're elected to do. So, but Wes, I'm glad you brought that up because the scope is huge. And even though I have an email and I have a long conversation with Executive Jennifer that we could do what I just mentioned, it was also told to me by Anna through email. It said something like,
Contingent, yes. Is that-
contingent, yes. She said, yeah, Dean, contingent, yes, but you have to turn in your scope. You have to turn in all the federal procurements. And she went through the litany of regulations. And she says, until I get that, you know, I can't tell you yes.
Yeah, even though
But
we're
but because it has septic and well and HVAC, and even though you're not occupying it, it's, you know, basically it was like, yes, but no guarantees until you turn it in. Well, that's a couple months down the road. We're not going to be able to do that. No matter how hard we work to do it, it takes time to do it.
And changing the scope of work is everything, because before, when we originally had this plan, it was, or when we were originally pursuing the new building, we needed to get occupancy, which included bathrooms, everything, right?
Yes.
Like, you had to have everything done. What we're trying to do now is essentially just use the grant money to pay for the structure and as much as possible, because if you don't get that job done by their deadline, then we're on the hook for everything. They take the money. So that's the whole point of limiting the scope of work. If they approve, say, just the structure, then we can use the grant money to pay for a lot of the planning, the architecture, all that, all the stuff that comes before construction, and then the building itself, and then essentially in a phase approach. So essentially what we want to do is limit the scope of work to a phase one, which is minimal, and then phase two will come out of pocket, essentially. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just.
No, that is correct. And we put together a project cost, and the civil engineer, the architect, septic, well, propane, detention pond, parking lot, landscape berm for the southern border, the rough plumbing and electric, the American flagpole and signage, and then contingencies, $50,000 worth of contingencies, meaning if there's something else that comes up that we weren't mindful of. That total came out to about $505,000, but that's a really, really rough estimate. We wanted to make sure that the grant money that is still available to us, which is about $350,000 to $400,000, if we go the new route, would be used up.
And a lot of these things can be happening at the same time, correct?
Yes. Yes.
As far as the structure going up,
Yes.
electric, all that, too.
Right.
Well,
And then the project cost for phase two, which would have nothing to do with the grant, so we're not under that time constraint, would be the interior build out. Permitting again, the change of architectural drawing, fire suppression system and alarm, although that might end up going in the top one. We'll have to see how we work that. Interior finishing of all the inside of the building. And contingencies of about 25,000. We estimate at 200. So it comes out to 700 plus 750. We don't know yet. It's too early to know, but okay, so that's that option. But before we go back to that, I do want to address the renovation of the old town hall. Last month we voted down, as I said, not to be redundant because of the July date, the new town hall. We were about to do the same on this renovation. Bill and Mike and others asked us to let them form their committee and look into this. So I'm sure it's music to the ears of this project that not only do we have till July to do this project, we have till October now, and we could lower the scope of work, because the original scope of work was $996,000. Remember that. And then we got it down, or they got it down to $656,000, but we had to do all that extra work. Well, Executive Jennifer said that we could redo the scope of work so that we only have $558,000 spent. Because I let her know that a lot of people, can't speak for everybody, we don't want to spend any more money than the grant money on this project. And they're allowing us to do that. So if you look at your page, please, advantages of the renovation of the town hall, and your committee turned in a report to us. Appreciate that. We'll look at that as well. But the advantages that we have, gosh, I'm doing a lot of the talking. Wes, could you read number 1, please? For the advantages of renovating the old town hall. It's in the packet here.
With SOW's
scope of work.
Yeah, with the scope of work revised, easier project to complete.
Okay, well, slow down 1 second.
Yeah.
It's an easier project to complete. There's
Right.
no doubt about it. It's no longer this $1 million project and running to the time clock of July. It's October and it's less work. So I'm
Yes.
personally confident we could get that done if that's what people wanted to do. Go ahead.
And just to add, the original renovation was before we took office. The original renovation was estimated to be closer to $1 million originally. We have an email from the previous supervisor asking for more grant money to cover that excess cost. So, which is why, one of the big reasons why us as a board were not in favor of the renovation, right? So now that and even then we thought when we got denied for the new building, we started looking at what renovating this would be and if we can reduce the scope of work. We talked to the company that they hired, TRIA, right? That they hired to do the planning and all that for the renovation, and we asked them, how much can you reduce the scope of work? And they gave us an estimate of 650,000, okay, which is still over the budget, over the grant money.
And we had to do a lot of work.
Right,
too.
and that wasn't, doing everything that they planned on doing, right? So it was still gonna be money out of our pocket in order to do it based on what TRIA told us for the renovation, right?
Okay.
And that's why we were hesitant to take the grant money because of the deadline as well. That was because they had to make this they said that in order to use the grant, this has to be ADA compliant, correct?
That's what the original was.
Which requires a lot. I mean, the bathrooms,
Now they're allowing the change.
parking lot, and then now that they're not wanting us to forfeit the grant money, Will County, they're saying we can now reduce the scope of work, which means we wouldn't be fully ADA compliant. However, they're saying that we can either use the grant money to do some of the work. However, we won't be fully ADA compliant with this building, right? So with the new scope of work revised, we'll only use $558,000 of the grant money, no out of pocket. So essentially what we're saying is that we're gonna factor in how much money we've spent already based on what the previous board spent, planning and permits and all the stuff that they've spent. It was about $132,000. Take that out of the $558,000, and then we factored in TRIA said it would cost us another $20,000 just to get new plans. I know I'm not going based off of this is just what we found out on our own, okay? So you guys can definitely correct that. I'm not trying to spit facts. I'm just telling you what we were told. TRIA told us in order for them to give us paperwork to submit a new scope of work, it would be, they want another $20,000. So that would be enough. So we just rough estimates. If you add the 20,000 to that 132,000, we estimated that we'd have less than 400,000 to put towards this, because we, as a board, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, we don't want to, if we do go with the renovation, say the electorate decides against and we end up going with the renovation, we don't want to spend any money out of pocket on this building. And I believe that the electors have voiced that concern, that no one wants to spend money out of our pocket on this building because it'll essentially be a waste with the widening of the road and a number of things going on, especially because we won't be ADA compliant.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, I'm summarizing this, not going necessarily in order, but the simple fact is that we don't want to spend money out of pocket on the renovation.
So that's an advantage,
Right.
is what we're saying. So you got the advantage of the
The
easier
advantage of
project
capturing
and
the
no
money
out-of-pocket money.
spent. Yeah, and no out-of-pocket money.
Okay. Monroe, number 3 there. This is the third advantage.
The third advantage stated is that we will use the $132,000 already spent that the township has spent, that the township has already spent on the project, just in fees, with no other work done besides updating the project that needs to be done and submitting to us what's required to get this thing going. That is the last advantage to renovate the town hall.
Okay, and then there's 4 disadvantages of doing this project here, the renovation of the old town hall, the way we see it. Not saying that we're speaking for everybody, but this is how we see it. You guys want to read those, or Belinda?
One is not our future, using the remainder 350,000 to 400,000. For the future town hall. Number 2, public safety concerns. Number 3, a lot of work to focus on an old building that will not bring much more value. And number 4, takes 350 to 400 away from our future new town hall.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, and you know, just being straight, that's the one that I think about a lot, is because I see our future down the road on the land we own. And yes, we could do this one and not come out of pocket, which is a huge advantage and all that we already said. But we will be taking $350,000 to $400,000 away from when we do decide to go to the new town hall and build it. All that money would be out of pocket at that time, whether it's a year from now or 5 years from now. That would be the case. So, based on all that, what are you guys thinking? Because the last thing we did was we voted as a board based on that meeting to pursue the new town hall based on that resident meeting, and we pulled it back because of the timeline. So with these challenges, these hurdles, these pluses and minuses that we could talk about, what are your thoughts? Do you want to pursue as a board? Again, if it's the new town hall, we have to go to the electorate. Do you want to continue to pursue this with these challenges that we have ahead? Do you think we could accomplish this on behalf of the township?
Point of order. Should you be getting, before you make a decision like this, don't you usually ask for input from the audience?
No, not at this time. And this is not a dialogue. This is a conversation between the board. And then at public comments, you could give your opinion on the public
But
comments.
it's almost like
It's not a dialogue.
vote, which is out of order.
Bill,
No.
because of
No,
OMB,
Wes.
This is not a dialogue. I'll state it again. The board is interested in doing what is best. We were elected. We already made this decision to go to the new town hall. We're not opposed to considering the old town hall. That's what this discussion is about. It's an honest discussion, but I need to hear from the board of this township
Excuse me.
first. No interruptions. I'm sorry. There's no interruptions, sir.
But the facts
There's
you're
no,
giving
there's
are
no,
100%
there's no interruptions.
incorrect.
You're out of
They're
order.
not correct.
You're-
I've already
you-
spoken to county.
You could hold your comment until public comment and to correct the record.
Well,
when you're.
You're out of order. I'm going to warn one more time.
Got it, out of order.
Thank you.
My,
Yeah, go ahead.
my opinion on this is that when we got together and decided what direction we were heading towards, and that was towards the new town hall, which I still am in favor of. I think it's with changing the scope of work and using up the money, the grant money, and getting things done without with a time of a change in the timeline, and using all the grant money we can use to get done what we need to be done by October 30th. I'm in favor of moving forward with the new town hall.
Okay. Anyone else? Belinda?
When you had the meeting at the church and people came for the survey, and there was 56 people there that voted for the new town hall, and 32 voted for the reno. I thought that really spoke about the majority of what the people wanted that were there. I know that it's always good to have the electors give their opinions. And I was not part of that vote, so this time, whatever happens, I'm sure I'll be part of the vote. But it's important, I think, to move to the future, and I would be, because of all of the people that took that survey and voted, 56 of them wanted a new building. And I have been talking to a lot of people, and I don't hear people say they want to save the town hall. I see a lot of the people in the subdivision when I'm walking around say they wanted the new town hall. Thank you.
Thank you. Ralph?
Basically, I'm for the new town hall. I don't think we should put all that money in this building, but I think we did set up a committee. I think we should listen to what they have to say. And then, like Bill said, we have to have them come in and, speak their voice and see what it is. But, if it was up to me, I'd vote no for both and say the hell with them.
Wow. Save the taxpayer money. Just so you know, the executive Jennifer really wants us to expend this grant. She does not want to give it back to the state. Again, I think when we pushed back on it and said we don't want it because of the timeline, that changed things. But it also helps to have a good relationship with the county. I know that Mike Flanagan has a good rapport with the executive, and I know you have spoken to her, and that helped also. So it's good to have good relations, regardless of party affiliation or anything like that, because that's how you get good things happening for the township. So appreciate that. I will. You want to say something? Go ahead.
Ralph, I agree with your double no answer, but the problem there still lies that we would still absorb $132,000. That would have to be paid.
Unfortunately, yeah, we would. But like you said before, Mike brought or somebody, you guys from the committee went to the Jennifer Bertino. And did you talk to Dan Butler or Sherry Newquist? They're our actual reps.
I didn't talk to Dan Butler. Dan Butler talked to Accenture. I didn't talk to Dan Butler.
No, I mean when you went to the county and asked them for help and stuff.
This is not a dialogue. You guys talk.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, then,
Thank you, Ralph.
then yeah, I'll go for the new town hall.
Okay. So
Dean, do you mind if I?
no, go right ahead.
I understand this, our survey at the church is one thing, but that was just a confirmation of what was already voiced by the township and the electorate when we got elected. Because the main thing that we ran on,
It's a good point.
when we were running for office, was that we did not want to spend the money on this building. That was the main thing we ran on. I mean, among other things, that was the main thing we ran. It was very clear that we did not want to spend the grant money on this building. We thought we should look for other options. So when we had that meeting at the church, it was just a confirmation. It wasn't a vote necessarily, it was a survey. However, it did give us an idea as a board that they really don't want, people still don't want to spend money on the renovation. So in the same light, I'm in favor of the new town hall, because the way I see it is that this grant money, no matter which way you spend it, it's a risk. Because if you don't get it done by the deadline, we have to pay for it. So if we go through with the renovation and take that risk, and we don't get it done in time, regardless of how confident anybody is, then we have to come up with that money. We don't get that grant money if we don't get it done in time. So the question is if we're gonna use that grant money towards something, I'd rather have it go towards something we already plan on spending money on, which is the new town hall. If we spend that money, take the risk and spend it on the old town, on the renovation, there's a risk of us not having to come up with all of it.
Okay.
It's a risk.
All right.
Either way.
Thank you. I am in favor of the new town hall, and I am surprised, right? I am praying that these hurdles could be jumped over and that we could get it done and that the electorate will approve it, because that is our future. That's our future down there. It's just not here. The future's not here. So
The final decision isn't up to us.
yeah, yes, of course. So with the timeline being pushed back and the scope of work, I am confident. To Barbara's point many weeks ago, I always hear Barbara's voice in my head. Is that a guarantee? And the answer is no. I wish I could get guaranteed, right? Even this process now, there's no guarantee. So what I'm hopeful for is this. This is my opinion. I want to do something. I much rather do the new town hall and start our future over there. And even if things went wrong, to your point, even if they went wrong, we have $800,000+ in the bank. If we believe that we want a new town hall, 4,000 square foot town hall, and start our future there, then even if we had to pay for it all ourselves, which, by the way, the people that want to do this project is really saying that, because there's no more money left, we will pay for it ourselves anyhow. So I would rather, that's another reason why I would rather do the new town hall. Now, in saying that, if we get along the path here and these hurdles just become unattainable, I'm hoping they become unattainable soon, so that we could call an audible if necessary and come back.
Agreed.
To renovate.
Right.
So the great news is that we have October. I'm very confident that we could get this building renovated by October. I truly am.
Depending on scope.
Yeah, depending on the scope of work being approved. Now, it's 8:15. I want to give the committee that we gave an allowance to give you guys an opportunity. I know that none of us have talked, other than me, more than 5 minutes on an opinion. So I'm going to give 5 minutes to hear from the committee to tell us your findings. Now, keep this in mind. The reason the board allowed this private committee, it wasn't sanctioned, it wasn't a sanctioned committee to go forward with something. It was they asked for permission to find out if this project could have the scope changed and that it could be done by July 31st, 2026. That's the only thing there to report on. Can it be done by July 30th, 2026? I'm already convinced that it could be done by October. So I personally don't need to hear about it because I believe it can. However, in saying that, I would like to invite up Mike or Bill for 5 minutes, please, and give us your findings. Can it be done by July? and/or October? And what are your thoughts about the scope of work? What scope of work did you guys come up with? And can it be done in time? Those two questions only, please. 5 minutes. Who wants to come up? Mike or Bill or both?
I think it's unreasonable that you guys spend 45 minutes to an hour telling me why you weren't.
Bill, this is going into your time, Bill. It's going into your time, my friend.
I'll start the clock now.
Okay. First of all, we have to ask, why does the board insist that these two projects are mutually exclusive? They can both be done. The renovation is ready for bid right now. There's no other hurdles to cover. Only the renovation recoups the $133,000 and puts it to use. Applying the grant to a new town hall does not recover that $133,000. That has to be spent for all the other studies, the entrance permit, traffic studies. Do we need a new town hall, a pole building shell? No, we need a community center here, not a town hall. We don't need offices for trustees that don't have office hours. In fact, we rent space and don't use it for office hours. It's just silly to think we need a town hall when we can use this building. And they keep reflecting on how much the original grant was going to cost. We knocked that down immediately and tried to get new grants. We told you that we could do this for under whatever money is remaining in the grant fund, and we can do that. Not only did who's the company that we used? TRIA. TRIA also agrees that this new scope can be done in time. I've got 13 pages of scope. It can be done under $400,000, and we could even do more than what we planned, which was recover the $132,000, keep the expenses within the grant allocation, complete the project by July 31st easily, provide ADA compliant restrooms, upgrade the septic, provide ADA access to the hall, and upgrade the HVAC to central air. And Max did an immense amount of work. You want to go ahead and say something, Max?
Good evening. Max Patrizzi, been here in Green Garden for about 17 years. So I am a general contractor with trades. I've been signatory, non-signatory. When I was approached from Bill, we looked at the plans. What can we do? And we can make this building ADA compliant. You could put the wheelchair accessible bathrooms, handicap parking, convert this old kitchen into a office space, upgrade the HVAC system, and upgrade the septic within the amount of money that's left in the grant. I've gone over it several times. I have bids already. What a lot of people don't understand when it comes to a grant, that there's stipulations. You have to pay prevailing wage. And to even begin to think about putting up that new building, the shell for $500,000, is absolutely ridiculous. There is no way you're gonna put up 4,000 square feet at prevailing wage, a structure, insulated, fire, well, septic, excavation, never. And if you have to put in a turning lane, which I have put in several, you're at $250,000. And if you're planning for the future, you're gonna need a turn. You know, I get it. Some people I've heard think that you're putting money into a building that's not yours. The building can be sold from the township. An agreement has to come between the landowner and the trust on a negotiation on the price for the land. But the building, from what I understand, from what I read in the trust, can be sold. So whatever you put into this free building, you're putting free money into a free building, and there is no way you're gonna build 4,000 square feet under $2 million finished. And that's a lot of money for a community that has 1,500 homes, 3,200 residents. that's a tremendous amount of money. And then the upkeep on it, along with, you're never going to be able to supply a 4,000 square foot building on propane. If you're going to have office spaces that are empty, regardless of that, the well has to be, you're going to have the well will never make it. You're going to have a tank. After 30 years of being in the construction business, Bill had reached out. I don't want anything to do with the renovation, but I felt that losing the $130,000 that's already been wasted on the ridiculous plans that they sent. If there was a grant that was issued for $500,000 and that company was made aware of that, they robbed the taxpayers, because there's no way with that scope of work it would have ever been under $1 million. If you think about spending $400,000 on 2 bathrooms, an HVAC system, and a septic, and maybe spruce up this room, do you think you're going to build a 4,000 square foot building at prevailing wage? Never. It's never going to happen. You have to put out, if you're going to be stewards of the taxpayers' money, you have to get the facts straight first. I understand you may have talked to somebody that gave you a price for a building. I'm telling you that is not possible for that kind of money. I've been in it for 30 years. I've made money and I've lost a lot of money running my mouth, thinking that things should cost what I think they should cost. They're not gonna. So this building can be brought up to compliance. I've already talked with county. He was ready to approve what I needed for him to approve that same day on the phone. We do not have to redraw the plans. He could eliminate the additional scope of work, focus on the bathrooms, focus on the septic, which is the health department, focus on that office, eliminate the, upgrade the panel. We don't need to upgrade the service, upgrade the panel, and put a little perfume on a pig in here, make it look a little bit nicer. You have more than enough money with $400,000. But please, please,
Thank you,
please,
Appreciate
know the
it.
facts before you speak.
Public comments.
And
Mike,
it's,
I'm sorry.
it's sometimes,
Yeah? What do you want? How much time you need? How much time you need?
You don't want the facts, Pete.
Well, I wanted the facts, but we got a lot of advertising too, so
5 minutes.
come on up and give the facts. Come on up, please.
Give him 5 minutes.
Come on, Mike, you and I are buddies, come on up.
The only thing I want to present was the facts, right? The position I held on the committee, we wanted to reduce the scope to something that could be done in the time frame allotted, within the budget allotted. Guaranteed. We don't want any risk. We were told at the meeting last month, if it's not 100% guaranteed, we're not going to take any risk. That was our goal. That was our task. So once we knew we could do it, I needed to assure you, the residents, that we would be able to change the scope, that we would be able to get the permits. You just heard we were able to get the permits. That's why I reached out to Accenture to see if we could change the scope. We were blocked, and we were told that we could not talk to Accenture, they could not talk to us. I then went to my contacts at the county executive to say, will this be doable? We cut through the red tape, and I was assured this would be allowed to be amended, the scope. I told her that there was no way that they would take my word for it alone. Why would they? Why would I take your word for it? That's why she reached out to Dean. We wouldn't be even discussing this tonight had this committee not reached out to the county executive and brought it back to the table. To the point of the board that, well, if it doesn't work out, we can change horses in midstream. That's why the county was nervous about giving us the grant in the first place, is because we can't make up our minds what we're going to do. So if they want a decision by December 5th, which is the date they want the decision by, they're not going to sit here in February with you telling them, well, listen, it didn't work out, we want to change horses again. That's why they don't have confidence in the township to get it done in time. So what I can tell you is doing the town hall is a 100% guarantee, no risk way of getting $133,000 of your money back in our pockets. If you want to do the new town hall, there's a risk. There's a risk you may get none of that back. You may spend $133,000 plus the cost of the new town hall. So if they're estimating it to be $750, maybe it's closer to the million, but add $133,000 to that because we don't take the guaranteed route. You can take the guaranteed, even supervisor says he's got no problem. This can be done within scope, within the time frame, within the budget. No risk. Why would you take the risk?
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Bill. No, you please, that's enough now. That's enough.
Why do you think it's mutually exclusive?
I'll explain when you sit down. I'll give the point. We can't just keep going on and on about this. This isn't the forum for it. We wanted the committee to tell us one thing. Could it be done on time? And can we change the scope of work? And we got that answer. We got a lot of good advertising, but we did the same, so no problem. All right, so, excuse me. So, I do want to comment though on this $2 million deal, Max. We have two estimates that this is a post-frame constructed building. It's not a brick building. It's not out of 2x4s. We know what the cost is on that. So that is a firm number that we have that we're confident. It's $250,000. It's actually less than that for the 4,000 square foot building. In writing, I've got an estimate already. I'm just telling you, so because you mentioned facts, okay? I get it that if it was a building we were building like this, I would agree with you. But it's a whole different ballgame with a post frame. Yes.
The grant stipulation.
Yes, yes, all of that, yes, all the above. All the above. So here's what it boils down to, board, is if we want more time, we could take a few days to think about it. With an October date, we're doing good. So if So the decision that will be made at the electorate meeting, if we decide to pursue the new town hall, that's when this decision will happen. This is when this kind of dialogue will take place. But we're not going to, if we go this route, I will just say right up front, if we vote to pursue this, we're voting to pursue the process. We will call an electorate meeting for December 4th. One day before the executive needs an answer on which direction to go to. The electorate will vote. And so when we go to that meeting, we're going to be promoting the new town hall. There's not going to be this debate all over again. Now, people could bring up what they want, I get it. But the board is not going to, just to let everybody know, the board is not going to put it out there like we did the first time at the church in June, when we said option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4. This is option 1 at the electorate. That's it. Either you're voting for it, up or down, and we'll move on from there. Telling you, we don't have a horse in the game. We want to do what's best. We want to do what the electorate want, so people could gather the troops at the electorate meeting and you know, that type of thing. So I wanted to present both sides to some degree. You know that all of us pretty much have favored the new town hall. That's why we are at this point, and that's why we voted a long time ago to pursue it.
As a matter of opinion, not.
Yeah, of course. So we feel again that it's our future over there. It's not going to cost more than $250,000 for that building unless we add to it. By the way, we could make it 3,000 square foot, and I've got a price that says $207,000 installed with everything I mentioned: drywall, structure installed, and the concrete floor. Septic, an extra, 37,000 or 27 it was, Ralph, plus the propane. So all these things added up was about $500,000. So based on this discussion that we've had, anything else you guys want to say? Yes.
Can you give me clarification on what we spoke about as far as the $132,000 that the township paid? Didn't you say that we were not going to get reimbursed for that no matter what?
If we go the route of the new town hall, that $132,000, it could be 110. I don't really know. And the reason I say that is we already got reimbursed 22. And Anna had told me that we could apply that toward the septic system if we went the new route, and but nothing's in writing, nothing's in stone. So it could be about $110,000 to $132,000. Yes, and we said that months ago at the June meeting. That we didn't hide that. We said we feel that we'd be willing to set that money aside because we can't get it back, because all that 132 was for tests, architecture, engineers, more tests, plan review, plan sites, all that applied for this project. So they told me long ago that you can't take that and bring it over there. You might be able to do it with the septic, because the septic system for here could potentially be transferred over there. But that's probably about it. So there'll be 110. That's why we said back at that meeting, Belinda, that when we were up front there, we said that we will only benefit $350,000 to $400,000 of a $558,000 grant, because we have to leave that money back. So that is true. So the question before all of us at some point is going to be, do we feel it's worth investing approximately $350,000, $400,000 of grant money to the new building, and another $350,000 to $400,000 of our own money, which we have $800,000 in the bank for that very reason, for the only reason, for a new town hall. That's what it's there for. We can't spend it on anything else. Do we feel that's a better option, or this is a better option? I'm asking actually the board right now, because the electors will have that decision if we move forward with this.
I think they have that on.
Okay, and that will do it. So based on that, what do we want to do? You got to keep in mind that this was asked and answered a long time ago. The decision was to go to the new. We only pulled it back because of the July. Now we're back to the October. So board members, what would you like to do?
You got a comment?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You have to wait for public comments. You have to wait for public comments. Yep. Thank you. That's. Yep. No. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. No comments until public comment. There's no dialogue here. That's right. This is called a board meeting. The public listens in, and we want to hear back from you. But there's got to be order. It can't happen like last month where it was crazy. Belinda, go ahead.
So what Bill just said is, he said that there's going to be a meeting for the electors to decide on what he wrote in his proposal. What I'd like to do is make a motion to move forward with the new town hall building in light of Will County allowing us to revise the scope of work to include only the installation of the building wall, septic, rough plumbing, and electric, landscaping, and parking lot, and also extend which they extended the completion timeline back till October 30th. This would need an approval vote by the electors on December 4th, 2025 to proceed. I'd like to make that motion that we do that and present that side of it to the electors also. So we've got 2 meetings that would go on.
2 different meetings?
Right, because Bill is saying he's got a November one, and I'm saying the December 4th to proceed with that meeting.
November 24th, there's
Yeah.
a special meeting petition to.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion on the floor from Belinda. I have that motion in front of me because it typed it out. Does everyone understand that motion? The board understand that motion? Yeah, it's a motion to move forward with the new town hall with the understanding of the new scope changing, the new date revision, and understanding also that it would go before the electorate. But what we would do is as a board, we would pursue that new town hall like we were before and gather as much facts as we can in these hurdles and all that, just to pursue it. Can't make a decision to do it because the electorate doesn't. So that's what the motion is.
The motion is to go forward with, okay.
So we have a motion from trustee Belinda, you have a second by Monroe. Is there any public comment for 1 minute? What I would ask you to do is raise your hand, be called on, come up to that microphone, please, and you have 1 minute for public comment. Based only on this item, right? Before we take a vote, we allow 1 minute public comment because we are interested in what you have to say. Come on up, Mike, please.
I'm sorry, Mike, I'm sorry. There's a motion and a second. Do we have to vote on it?
No, before, we changed that because before we vote, we want to hear from the people. 1 minute for public comment only on this particular item. Nothing else could be talked about at this point.
What's the item?
The item is the motion for the board to pursue the new town hall with this understanding. But hang on, Max, you could have public comment after Mike's 1 minute, okay? Thank you, Mike. Go ahead.
I just want to address the board that you did bring up these 7 challenges that are going to take a lot of time to fully evaluate, to know the risk level you're going to take. So to be comfortable with the risk level, you have to know the answers to those questions. December 5th, with Thanksgiving being in the middle of now and then, seems very hard to come up with those answers with 100% certainty. I would ask the board to consider how are you going to come up with traffic studies, meetings, figure out your fire suppression, figure out your well size, figure out all these other issues that you pointed out, Mr. Supervisor. How did you anticipate you were going to answer all these questions between now and December 4th to present the electorate with an honest risk level that they're going to have to vote as to whether they want to take, which could put them in debt up to $800,000.
Thank you,
That's
Mike.
what I would ask the board
Thank you.
to consider.
Thank you for your comment, and it's well taken. And these are the risks that we're considering. Any other public comment? Max, you were, okay, yes, sir, could you, could you, wait, Max, you'd have to come up to the mic for 1 minute. Could you say your name, please, for
My
the
name's
record?
Anthony Cantone. I've lived in the area for
Anthony,
65 years.
Anthony, could you address the board, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, so, you know, my dad always told me when something's too good to be true, it's usually too good to be true, and I think this is too good to be true. I understand everybody wants a brand new building and be able to have that for the future, but I think the time that you're dealing with, it's too short of a duration. The guy whoever these people you're talking to, they're used car salesmen. They're going to tell you whatever they want, whatever you want to hear. I can get the job done. I can get job done. I've worked in the trades for 45 years. I'm a 45-year retired laborer from the Laborers International in Chicago. I know a little bit about construction. This is a dream. You're dreaming. There's no way that this can be done by October. We don't even know what the cost of this. You keep throwing some numbers out, 700,000, 800,000. That's not even the tip of the iceberg.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Yes, Max, come on up, please. State your full name for the record again, please.
If I tell you my real name, it'll take up all my minutes.
Could you address the board, Max?
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening to you, sir.
So Mike covered most of my concerns. I think you're going to vote on moving forward on the new town hall. I've never seen a blueprint or a sketch or a parking lot size or a drawdown of what all the expectations are going to be on the new town hall. So we really don't have a plan. We know it's roughly 3,000 or 4,000 square feet. I don't believe the budget, and it's hard to budget something when you don't have a plan. Parking lot, how many cars? You mentioned something about they're hopefully fitting 200 or 300 people. That's gonna need 100 or more parking space. No? Okay. I thought I heard that hopefully we could have meetings where 200 people, 100 people, whatever it may be. So that you're gonna need an enormous parking lot. 7 acres, 6 acres, whatever it may be, may have enough. But I honestly think a realistic scope of work should be presented before any vote's taken. I think a realistic budget, if we have a scope of work that some of the residents that are in the trades or have been in the trades or have some notion of construction could look at something and say, oh yeah, 800, maybe not. So I think you're throwing a vote in on a new building, and I think everybody's being misled on what the possibility of if you have $300,000 left or $350, whatever it may be of the grant money, it is far-fetched. It is really far-fetched to get a parking lot, the excavation, the shell, the insulation,
It's 2 minutes.
Time's up. Thank you, Max. We appreciate what you said, and you said some of that already. So thank you so much for your comments, and we do have a plan, and what our plan would be is to have a plan for the electorate meeting to show people. But okay, Josh, yep, come on up, please state your full name, please.
Joshua Snedden. I think we focused a lot on this building, the new building being our future, and we haven't talked much about the economic opportunity we have right in front of this board. So at a time when many in our community are facing hardship and tumult due to no control of our own, the board could say yes to renovating this building. They could say yes to hiring local business people and local tradespersons, and they could take those state dollars and they could get them into the hands of our community members sooner than later, while we establish a very clear plan and vision for what the new building could be. I think Mr. Becker, who's not here anymore, made a very good point about creating a community center with livelihood and activities that is not simply a pole frame building to host town hall meetings. And I think we should do due process on that, but we should invest the dollars we know we have today that you yourself, Mr. Supervisor, said we could get the project done in time to get that money into our community members' hands for our better benefit.
Thank you, Joshua. Thank you.
Just, can I comment? I mean, all of us if it's up to us, we'd all want to give the money to contractors within Green Garden, right? I mean, but there is a bid process involved.
Yeah.
No matter what we do.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, any other public comments? Yes, come on up for the record. State your name, please, for the record.
Karen Playtech, just to piggyback on what he said, Tom Becker, I feel like everyone's got their heads in the sand up here as far as what's going on in this community with the solar projects going on. We may have to incorporate, we may have to litigate this. We might need money for a lawsuit. We may need to get other townships annexed into us to fight this. There's a lot of other things going on, and to just throw money and be worrying about a new town hall when we have much bigger issues going on in this township, I think is just irresponsible. We have guaranteed money to fix this building. We've been meeting in here. I'm not saying that we don't build a new building at some point, but after we have got the solar stuff taken care of and we know where we're going, half our township might get wiped out because of this. I mean, I don't think anybody realizes the significance of this. Tom Becker's come here several times and he's trying to educate us on these companies and what they're doing. And that's just my opinion.
Thanks, Karen. Those are good points. So I knew you were heading toward the topic because you started with solar, but you're saying the solar, we have so much concern there, we don't want to spend money over there. Appreciate your comment. Yeah, we certainly will. Yes, Bill, this will be the last comment. You got one more? Okay, we'll take one more and that's it, because our policy, believe it or not, is five on any one subject that your board passed back in March. But that's okay. We're here
never
to
passed
serve
that.
and protect.
We never said that. Anyway.
Go ahead, Bill.
My real concern is December 5th is a deadline to have scope in, correct?
Not the scope in, but not the complete package, yes.
Right. So how is the renovation committee supposed to get their scope in when you're going to have a special meeting on the 4th of December when it's due the 5th? And I want to hear some talk about the special meeting we called for the 24th of November, asking that this be renovated, a special meeting of the electors of the township. Are you aware of that?
Are you done with your comment?
Yeah.
Thank you. I was aware of that just today. It's in the attorney's hands to see if it's a valid resolution. It's disheartening that we would have a group of people from our own township that would create a resolution, and this is my opinion, and I'm elected to be up here so I could say this, that would go against having an electorate meeting to have a vote. That's what we're voting on coming up. So, but that's okay. That's your business. Yes, sir. Please state your name and.
Say it or not, I don't have much to say. All I'll ever say is any plan that doesn't, well, I'm sorry, you don't even have to have a plan yet. But anything that adds to finances, like this is like the third time I've been to one of these meetings and keep on dealing with generality. It's about this much and about this much and about this much. How do you budget like that? Holy shit. Free speech. Like, I don't understand how anybody budgets. You guys sit here, you're worried about $300,000? I'm sorry, that's not a lot of money. It really isn't. And I'm broke, but $300,000 is not a lot of money. You're trying to grab it from here and put it over there. I'll believe the contractors that are walking around saying that it's not nearly enough to build this new building. You guys are gonna end up screwing yourselves. I really don't care. I have enough money to do that.
Thank you. Just for the record, there is a overview plan on both the new town hall and the old town hall, and also for the record, there is not a specific plan for either. That's the whole process we're talking about. Neither plan has an exact scope. They all have to be presented to the county through a censure and get approved, and that's what we would be working on. Okay, so the motion was to move forward with the new town hall building project in light of Will County allowing us to revise the scope of work to include only the installation of the building, well and septic, rough plumbing and electric, landscaping and parking lot, and also extending the completion timeline back to October 30th, 2026. This will need an approval vote by the electorate on December 4th, 2025 to proceed. Is there any further discussion by the board? Any clarity of the motion? Okay, are we ready to vote on this motion?
Roll call.
Okay, motion has been made by trustee Belinda. We had a second, right? It's been so long I forgot. Okay, it was seconded by Monroe. We're going to do a roll call vote on this. Clerk, if you could please do that.
Trustee Oshetsky? Yes. Trustee Strigo?
Yes.
Trustee Dietz?
No.
Trustee Shepherd?
Yes.
Supervisor Christopoulos?
Yes. Okay, motion as stated is carried. The next item for consideration, it will be the last one other than the reports, and that's under new business, general assistance. That may be something that is not familiar to a lot of people. It has to do with basic maintenance needs of helping the township. I'll just read a quick thing from the statute. The general assistance is a statutorial mandated, general assistance is statutorily mandated by Illinois legislature to levy taxes and administer general assistance for destitute township residents. Section 70-50 says the township supervisor shall be the supervisor of the general assistance in the township and shall administer the general assistance program in the township as provided in Articles 6, 11, and 12 of the Illinois Public Aid Code. The supervisor is responsible for setting limits, monetary limits on general assistance in Illinois townships. The supervisor administers the program and determines the eligibility and the limits. Each township has its own specific rules regarding general assistance, which can include income and asset limits. The trustees have authority to see information that they may need to fulfill their function as an auditor of the general assistance funds. They are bound by confidentiality. They cannot tell the supervisor who to help or how much to pay a recipient. The supervisor has sole authority on general assistance. So what I'd like to do, because from my knowledge we haven't had this, as supervisor, I would like to set the limit of general assistance up to $1,000 per month for an eligible resident of our township who's destitute, has no money, maybe they lost a job. The supervisor has sole authority over this, so this is informing that I'd like $1,000, I'd like to set the limit up to $1,000. Now, it doesn't mean that an eligible applicant will get $1,000 a month. It just means that would be the limit. I want to set the limit at $1,000. And I'd like that to be stated, please, for the public record for our township. Does the board have any questions regarding that?
Per resident.
Per eligible resident, yeah. And as
qualifies for the $1,000 general assistance?
Pardon me?
What items qualify for?
Well,
What do you, dog food or car insurance?
no, there's a list. There's a list that is stated for that. So it has to do with utilities, laundry, soap. Believe it or not, there's a list that the Illinois gives us to go by. So if someone is destitute and they, again, they may have lost their job, there could be a lot of different circumstances, but the statute gives the supervisor great latitude to determine that on his own or her own. And so that would be it. And I just wanted to state it for the record that it's $1,000.
What was it before?
I don't think we had anything before, to my knowledge. I don't know that we had anything. I don't know that we ever administered general assistance.
How about other townships?
I did talk to a few other townships, and that's generally about what some of them are. One of them was $842, one of them was $1,000. There's also an emergency assistance fund too that I'm not bringing up right now, but general assistance was right in there somewhere.
And you actually put a limit on that general assistance amount?
That's what I'm saying. It's $1,000.
That is.
Yeah, I could do that. Yes, that's the authority that I have to do that. I want to do it because I don't want to be thinking, oh, I'm going to, we could give these people $5,000 a month or something. It's $1,000 a month, and so when someone sends in an application to me for general assistance, they would know that, the limit.
Thank you.
And we have had residents. I think we had. I should know this exact. I think we had like 6 people ask. I send them. I interview them. I have to interview them. I have to have them fill out a very detailed application, and all of them but one send it back. None of them sent it back except for one. And so I'm dealing with one right now, and it's the strictest of confidence, and so that's it. So I just wanted to state that. Any other questions from the board on that? Okay, so that brings us to the next point to consider is our reports, road commissioner, then the assessor, and trustees and supervisor. I won't have a report. I don't know if the trustees will, but the road commissioner first, please. Appreciate everyone hanging in there. It's already 5 to 9.
Test. Great. Past operations, township jetted most of the tiles in the township. Stunkel Road had a 45-mile-an-hour signs were posted for the new speed limit. We did receive a grant for that trolley box culvert. I told you guys last week we're just waiting for the check. The check did come in. I thought it was gonna be for $25,000. I don't have it with me, but I noticed I think it's like $23,500 or something. So it's still really good for that project. Currently, we're doing a lot of truck maintenance. That snow came a little earlier than normal. So we're setting trucks up, and our trucks, it's an aging fleet, so there's a lot of breakdowns, a lot of things that we had to fix. When we're not fixing trucks, we're gonna go around, start clearing out the beaver dams that are in the township easements. Gulfview Drive went through a speed analysis that qualifies for a 25-mile-an-hour limit. I okayed that, so once we get the official signature on the paperwork, that's gonna be changed. Future operations, still waiting for Sheer Road Bridge. Originally, they said they'd be constructed in 2024. I knew that wasn't going to be true, but I was hoping for 2025. Now they're saying 2026. And I'm really hoping on that because I need 4 parcels of land that should have been bought this month. And I'm still waiting for the attorneys to close that deal out. Pauling Road is the next big project. That is half-mile west of Route 45. We had to improve the base of the road. It's starting to fail, so we took a half-mile road out. So our next step right now, after we loaded it up with gravel and grindings, is just do we're gonna shoot elevations just to make sure it's where I want it, and just let it sit for the winter. Otherwise, we'll put some more base on it. That's it.
Thank you, Jim. You do a good job, you really do. The assessor, please. Report.
Good evening, everyone. First, I wanted to mention there's a few of these handouts in the very back of the room. If you get a chance, pick up one. If there's not enough copies, there is on the assessor, the Green Garden Township Assessor Facebook page. This is also printed out there, okay, so you can get it as well. I just did a quick report just so, because I knew we wouldn't have a lot of time this evening, with the increasing assessed values, which are based on a lot of different factors. We have a lot of new construction. We've been very, very busy and so forth. But you can see the increase, okay? These are hard facts. This is coming from the county, not from me, okay? The other thing I wanted to address real quickly, since it was brought up, is Mr. Wagner back there, who has continually harassed the assessor's office for many years. And I really do resent that you imply that no one's in the office. We have an employee on a regular basis that's there. We do keep appointments by appointment. We keep hours by appointment as well. No one has ever been failed to been serviced, and you don't get numbers like this by not working your tail off. So please quit doing this. I know you've always controlled the assessed values of the residents before I came into office. It's not happening anymore. I'm sorry. It's fair and equitable now. Thank you. This is my time, not yours.
Thank you very much. And we will have public comments for 2 minutes. Believe it or not, we're going to have public comments at the end of this meeting, and everyone could walk out and leave, but we're going to have them. That's okay. We gotta stick it out. All right. So now we have trustees report. Any trustees want to report?
Yeah, I do want to make a statement.
Oh, okay. Monroe's got a report.
Going with Buddy Schultz, along with Buddy Schultz's idea, I am also in charge of a couple things. And one of those things is the veterans group. I've been meeting with the gentleman out of Joliet. I've got a couple gals who are involved in the auxiliary for the veterans, helping me get names, trying to get addresses, trying to pull numbers together from basically Green Garden residents who are veterans so that we could promote some different things, maybe a coffee and a cake day. One of the things I would like to see is, this Monument Manhattan Road seems to be one of the main thoroughfares heading out to Elwood to the Abraham Lincoln Cemetery. It'd be nice if we could have a couple volunteers standing at the corner holding the flags. So I'm working on it. I haven't got a hell of a lot of it done. I'm very fortunate to have a couple gals working with me trying to secure names, addresses, phone numbers to get a list compiled so that we can start moving forward with this thing. That's all that's that report. If there's anything else I can do to help on the set, I'm also appointed right now for a while with the cemetery group. If there's anything that needs to come forward, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Monroe, excuse me. Anyone else?
I got one.
Yes, sir.
I just want to give a tech update. I don't know if we can see the progress, some progress. We got microphones now. We did purchase those. And then I did send an email out to all you guys with a list of equipment. There was just one thing on there that I just figured it'd be worth noting. It's just it's a version of this. We are borrowing this from the church. This is a little older and outdated.
You're talking about the
Yeah, the PA system.
not the microphones, but
Yeah,
that.
not the microphones, the speaker, and essentially, just the reason to get one of these is that I was struggling to figure out a way of amplifying in here as well as capturing on the camera for the live stream, because we got a lot of complaints about the live stream not being able to hear it and whatnot. So this is the proposed solution. I think it works fairly well, if you guys ask me, but
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys think.
I think it did
If
great.
you guys are okay with it, I was gonna go and order the new PAs. I tried to get them to donate this, but I don't know if they're.
They're practicing like cost involved.
Yeah. So it is on the list, but it is around like $1,200 to $1,300. It's like, but it's something that we've had this one for almost 20 years. So,
wow.
And we used to use this in our church when we were in Manhattan, a tiny little building. The nice part about this is that you can connect the speakers to one area and then it goes out to the camera. So, and then it also amplifies in here. That way, if you don't hear yourself on the speaker, you're not going to hear yourself on the camera. So
it's consistent with our desire to do
yeah,
live stream
and my
and video.
thought was that this is something that no matter where we go, even if it's in the future building, whether that's next year or 5-10 years from now, this can be used over there for veteran or any kind of community center events we hold. If they want to do live music events, host a bingo, they can use this system for that. That
Right.
was the thought process. So that
Thank you, Wes.
it is something that's future
Super.
that can be used. So,
It's in the budget.
yeah. We normally budget 10,000 or so, or 8 to 10 every year for technology. And from what I'm aware of, we didn't buy any technology besides this year. So it is within the budget.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other trustees report? No. Supervisor report? No. This is public comments, 2 minutes on any subject you would like. Mr. Wagner, you could address the board.
I want to apologize to Jane. I didn't mean to. I think you've run a good operation, and I don't expect anything more. The point I wanted to make is we don't need office space because we don't have office.
I think that mic's turned
Yeah,
off.
it's off. If you could just
I want to make sure the video is getting.
It's a button on the side.
You want to help? It should turn green for it to.
There we are.
Okay.
Okay. Should I start over? I do want to apologize. I didn't intend that to insult your operation at all. The point I was trying to make is, because I think you don't need office hours. There's only 1,500 homes here. By appointment is great, and you need people in the office to do the office kind of work. I do apologize for that. I think that's enough.
Thank you, Bill.
Can I come back 30 seconds later?
No, your 2 minutes is done, right? Okay, Just joking. Yes, Karen?
I just want to remind everybody that the final judgment for the solar lawsuits that are occurring for the Cousay Road and Stumple Road projects is December 2nd
Yeah.
in Joliet. I think
Yep.
it's at 9 in the morning. So the judge said he wanted to give a decision on all of them at the same time. So we will find out what's going on with that, but I want everybody to be aware of it.
Okay.
Who's the judge, Karen? May I ask who the judge is?
I don't know the judge's name.
It's-
I just know it's December 2nd.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Yes, Mike, if you could state your name for the record, please.
My name's Mike Cavanaugh. I've been out here about 38 years now. And this goes back to the town hall thing. I know we don't want to beat.
It's okay. It's all right.
I think one of the things with the town hall, the new one, I would like to see us get more input from our community as what they would like to see in a town hall before we design one and build one. I think that would be an important thing for us to do before we do that. Again, I was on the renovation committee. I think that's a wise choice of funds that we don't have to put out, plus we can get funds back from it. But anyway, I just like to see more input from our community as to what they want to see in a brand new town hall, or town center, rather than just building what we think, or, what I think or what you think. Get input for everybody.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Mike. And if I could comment, we appreciate what you guys have done and your concern. We don't want to try to make this us against them type of mentality. We're all in it together. We all have our opinions. We want to respect each other and do what's best. So.
Mine are right.
That's right, Mike. Okay, any other public comments? Yes, Linda, if you could come up, please, and state your full name for the record.
Linda Owens. Just have a question. As long as we're going to be here, even if it's forever or for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, can we get a light fixed out there so that when you pull into the parking lot and it's dark like this, you know where you're walking?
I agree.
The only light you
I
have
almost
is the
killed
one out
myself
front.
tonight.
That light is out there. Look, it's not working.
We can maybe
Actually,
do like a,
both sides. You couldn't see over here either.
You know, we got a budget. Let's put the lights in for the people.
Okay. All right,
do like
thank
a
you,
short-
Linda. That was the most practical public comment we've had all night, so.
I could do more.
Ralph, this look good. Ralph, this is in your field. Do you think you could take the responsibility to look into that? You're looking at Jim, the road commissioner.
I think that's his building.
Oh, that's his building.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, not on a serious note, if you could please check in there, because that is true. It's getting darker earlier now, and so yeah, that's great. Okay, if there's no other public comment, I want to thank everybody for coming and hanging in there. Part of the reason I'm going to be done. Part of the reason these meetings go long is because we are hearing from the residents. 1 minute before a vote takes a lot of time. 2 minutes it just takes time to hear from everybody, and we've had some hot topics. So thanks again. Make a motion to adjourn, please, somebody.
I'll motion.
Who? Wes?
Motion to
Wes
adjourn.
motions to adjourn. Second. Ralph, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carried. Thanks for coming. Meeting adjourned.